What if I told you that a crucial piece of faith's history has been hidden for centuries, tucked away in books that most Christians have never even opened? Imagine discovering pages filled with stories of courage, sacrifice, and divine wonders, yet absent from nearly every Bible you've ever known. These are the Books of the Maccabees, 3 powerful writings preserved in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible. Within their pages lies the epic tale of a people pushed to the brink of destruction, yet rising with unshakable faith against an empire determined to erase their identity. The Maccabees do not simply recount wars and bloodshed. They reveal miracles in the heat of battle, the steadfast devotion of martyrs, and the relentless belief that God himself intervenes in human history. But here's the mystery. Why were these books excluded from most Christian Bibles? What secrets lie within them that have been hidden from generations of believers? Could it be that the answers challenge everything we thought we knew about the history of the Scriptures? In this video, we will journey through all 3 books of the Maccabees, uncovering the extraordinary events that make them stand apart. From battlefield miracles to ordinary men and women who face death with unwavering conviction, these texts shine a light on a forgotten chapter of biblical history. If you want us to go even deeper into each of these incredible books, whether it's Maccabees I, the spark of rebellion, Maccabees II, where miracles and martyrdom intertwine, or Maccabees III, an overlooked yet powerful testimony, let us know in the comments. We are ready to bring each one alive in its own dedicated video to help you navigate. Chapter links are provided in the description, allowing you to revisit any section at any time. And don't forget to explore our other videos on the hidden books of the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, such as the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees, each revealing astonishing truths lost to history. Now, step with us into the world of the Maccabees, a buried chapter where faith meets resistance, where miracles break through oppression, and where one act of defiance sparked a rebellion that changed the course of Jewish history. Their ancient writings are far more than history. They are flames of faith, courage, and divine wonders. The first and second books of Maccabees belong to this hidden treasure, texts where the Jewish people's faith was tested under the crushing weight of an empire, and where extraordinary events still echo through time. Unlike what many assume, the Maccabees are not simply tales of war. They unveil a struggle for the very soul of a nation. In the 2nd century BC, the Seleucid Empire under Antiochus IV Epiphanes sought not only political control, but the complete erasure of Jewish faith, replacing worship of the living God with Hellenistic rituals and pagan practices. Jerusalem's temple was desecrated, and the people were ordered to sacrifice to Zeus. For many Jews, this was a line they could never cross. Out of this oppression rose Mattathias, a priest who refused to compromise. His single act of defiance sparked a rebellion that became known as the Maccabean Revolt. After his death, leadership passed to his son, Judas Maccabeus, the Hammer, whose courage and unshakable trust in God turned a small band of fighters into an unstoppable force. Against impossible odds, they won battle after battle. Victory seen not merely as strategy but as divine intervention. Judas reminded his warriors, "Do not fear the numbers, but trust in the Lord of heaven, who is mighty to save in battle." 1 Maccabees 3:18. Yet the Maccabean story extends beyond battlefields. In the 2nd book of Maccabees, faith is tested in even greater ways. Martyrs chose death rather than deny their God, believing with all certainty that he would raise them to eternal life. Among them stands a mother who witnessed the death of her 7 sons. Instead of despair, she encouraged them to remain steadfast, reminding them of God's justice and the promise of resurrection. Her faith shines as a symbol of courage and trust in promises that go beyond this life. The 2nd book of Maccabees also highlights miraculous interventions. At Bethzer, when the Jewish army was about to fall, 5 radiant horsemen with golden bridles appeared, shielding Judas and throwing the enemy into chaos. In another vision, the prophet Jeremiah handed Judas a golden sword, assuring him of victory, a symbol that God himself was guiding their cause. These stories are not merely about history. They remind us that faith can move mountains, that courage can defy empires, and that God's hand is never absent in the struggles of his people. The Maccabees show us that in the darkest hour, faith can ignite miracles that change destiny. Sometimes, God's greatest deliverance comes at the very moment when humanity believes all hope has been lost. Within the sacred history of the Jewish people lies a story far, beyond the imagination of men. One of these accounts is found in the Books of Maccabees, where visions, miracles, and unshakable faith blend into an epic narrative. As Judas Maccabeus prepared for a fierce battle, the prophet Jeremiah appeared in a vision. He handed Judas a golden sword with a solemn command. "This is a holy weapon from God. Use it to strike down your enemies." The vision was not just a sign of power, but a reminder that the Lord himself stood with his people. From that moment on, Judas marched with unshakable confidence, knowing he was never alone. In the second book of Maccabees, we witness more than mere battles. We see a journey of faith, where martyrs gave their lives to the law of God, firmly believing in resurrection and eternal justice. Miraculous victories over vast armies became living proof that those who stand with the Lord never fight by themselves. Yet history does not stop there. In the third book of Maccabees, the story shifts away from Judea to Egypt, where a different kind of trial awaited. This time it was not the clash of swords, but the schemes of kings and political powers. King Ptolemy IV, proud and arrogant after defeating the Seleucids, desired to enter the Holy of Holies in the Jerusalem temple, an act reserved only for the high priest. But when he attempted this, he was suddenly struck with sickness and blindness. Humiliated, he withdrew to Egypt, but his pride turned into a deadly plan to gather all the Jews in Egypt into Alexandria and execute them publicly using war elephants. It was a moment of despair when an entire people stood on the edge of annihilation. Yet, instead of surrendering to fear, the Jews fasted and prayed with one voice. Their cries rose to heaven, echoing the laments of their ancestors in Egypt during the time of Moses. And once again, God answered. As the elephants were driven forward to crush the captives, a miraculous reversal occurred. The beasts turned back, trampling the soldiers who commanded them. In an instant, the cruel plan collapsed. This became living proof that the power of God surpasses every weapon and human scheme. This miracle recalls the parting of the Red Sea in the Exodus and the prophetic visions of Daniel, moments when God showed that he reigns over kingdoms and history itself. Empires may rise and fall, but his sovereignty remains forever. In the end, Ptolemy was forced to acknowledge the hand of God. He released the Jews and granted them freedom to practice their faith. Their deliverance was not just survival. It was a declaration that prayer, faith, and steadfast trust in the Lord are the strongest weapons of all. The third book of Maccabees may be less known than the heroic battles of Judas Maccabeus, but its message is deeply powerful. Whether in Judea, in Egypt, or anywhere in the world, God's protection never fails those who remain faithful to him. When faith is placed firmly in the Lord, no earthly power can erase a people. Backhand index pointing right. Do you believe this miracle in the third book of Maccabees reminds us of other times in the Bible when God rescued his people from hopeless situations?